So this is going to be the first in a YouTube series, I don't know how long, on the redesign of this clock. You can, I'm sure, guess that it was modeled vaguely after the DeLorean time circuits from Back to the Future, but instead of showing where you are, where you're going, and where you've been, or whatever it was in the movie, this one shows you UTC, in this case Pacific time, and then the bottom line is local solar time, which means that for my longitude, when that thing reads noon, the sun is the highest in the sky that it's going to be that day. I've really enjoyed having this clock in the house for about the last year, but I kind of built it off the cuff with what I had available at the time, and I think I want to do it right. So one of the problems that I hope you can see in the video is that the columns that have the fewest segments lit, like the 7s right now are a perfect example of this, and the 1s also, the columns that have the fewest segments lit are the brightest. And that's because I turn on one column at a time. You can't see them flickering because of the frame rate of the camera, but I turn on one column at a time and I feed it all the power that I've got for a very brief period of time, and then I go on to the next one. So because there are only 3 segments lit in each of the ones in this column, they're much brighter than, say, the column that has a couple of zeros lit that have, I don't know, 6 or 8 segments per digit. So the reason that it's working this way is because when I designed the clock, when I started building it, I had a bunch of shift registers lying around. And I'll wait a minute while all of you who know what I'm talking about stop laughing. Yes, I built this thing using shift registers, and I swear to you I will never do that again. It made the build quite easy, but yeah, it has problems, and I'd rather not deal with them again. One of the problems right now, I already talked about the fact that I light up one column at a time, but that means that I only have each character lit up for 1/12 of the time, or at the moment, since I have one completely blank column, 1/11 of the time. That means that in daylight, you can't read it. It's illegible. This is actually not as bright as it is when it is daylight in here. You can't even tell that the thing is on. And so I really need to address the brightness problem. Best way to do that is to use actual LED controllers, and that is the route that I'm going to go with. I'm on the fence at the moment about using wire wrap to do this again. It's very convenient in some ways. The wire wrap method allowed me to fix problems as they cropped up, and I was able to essentially build the thing as I went along. Of course, I had a prototype that I built on a breadboard, but it only contained one row of characters. But nonetheless, building that one row of characters on a breadboard was fairly time consuming. I will breadboard out probably just 2 characters, but once I've established that that works, I will just go straight to wire wrapping. So I will just be putting LED controllers on, I'll be putting LED controllers on the bottom circuit board, and I'll be putting a new set of LED displays on the boards that are mounted on the front of this. But then I will just go straight to wire wrapping. I'll start with the bottom row to make sure that I have as much clearance as possible. But that's what it's going to be. Maybe it was obvious from what I said earlier, but this thing gets its time information from a GPS unit that is barely visible on the screen at the moment, but and then of course it gets longitude from that same GPS unit, and then I just do a little bit of math to compute what the relative solar offset is. So anyway, that's it. I'm just going to kind of jump in and start on this. I won't be using an Arduino this time. I of course won't be using the shift registers, I promise. But I'll try to document this as I go. It'll probably be videos like this where I just talk at you for a few minutes and call it good, because I do not have much stomach for editing. But that's it. that's what I'm up to. And you'll know I'm making progress when you see a new video. I'm currently waiting for a new GPS unit. Maybe I'll desolder this one and use it, but I don't know. We'll see. One way or the other, I'm going to have to rip this one apart, start on the new one, because I'm not building another case for it. I'm just going to mount the new system straight into this one and go for it. Anyway, enjoy.